Hello and welcome back to Jazz Ranch. It's Christmas time here. I've got the red tie on. And if you happen to be watching this during the summer, it's Christmas time here now. And sorry about the dark glasses, but the tree lights are blinding me. And I have a special French Christmas song for you tonight. It's called Angels We Have Heard While High. Wait a minute, I didn't get that right. Angels We Have Heard on High. Yes. And anyway, it's a French Christmas song. We're going to interpret it from a jazz point of view. In other words, how do we make a Christmas song swing? How do we give it the right kind of bass line and chord progression and reharmonization to make it sound like a jazz interpretation? So here we go now with Angels We Have Heard on High. I want to start out by saying that this particular Christmas carol, comes from a 19th century French carol, traditional carol. We don't have a composer for it, but that's where it came from, the 19th century, 1800s in other words. And this particular one is very adaptable to a jazz interpretation. Now, why is that? Because it has a lot of chords, and the chords sort of fit into a 2-5-1 or a 2-5 kind of progression, which makes it adaptable to jazz, because jazz is all about 2-5-1s, pretty much. In other words, smoothing out the harmony so that we have nice transitions from one chord to the next. So now the way I interpreted this arrangement was that I want to create a contrast between the front of the chord, which is the first 8 bars, and then you might call it like the verse and the refrain. So we'll say the verse is the first or the A section, and the refrain is the B section. So we like to think of the songs as being divided into sections and give them specific names. So like we have verse, refrain. So the verse is the first 8 measures, and the refrain is the next, well, it's a little more than 8 measures, but it's maybe 12 measures. Anyway, the chord progression for the first 8 is, it's very simple, like that. It's like we're in the key of F, so it's F to a B flat, back to F, and then a C7. So it's just a 1, 3, you know, 3 chords. In other words, a 1, a 4, and a 5. Like here it is, 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, 1 chord, 5, like that. So, but what I did was in jazz we try to, or good harmony, we try to create an interesting bass line. So I'm going to go like this. So I'm going to approach that 4 chord chromatically from the 1 down to the 4 chord, but with the 5th in the bass. And then I go to that's a B flat. I go to a B flat minor there, and then I go to the 5 chord there, but with the 1 here, and then the 5 on the next. So here we have this nice bass line in the upper register, harmonizing it in the right hands. So now when I get to the refrain, this goes like this. Now approach to the, now it's the 3 chord, but half diminished. That means A minor 7 flat 5. Now I can really get into some really nice, thick, and whatever, juicy jazz chords like this. So I have A minor 7 flat 5. Now go to the 5 chord. You can always dress up your 5 chords, you know, dominant 7ths, with great voicings. Like this one is a D7 with a sharp 9, okay, with a flat 13. So sharp 9 and flat 13 in there, rather than a boring sounding chord like this. Probably the way the composer written was like this, or maybe even this, like that. But I'm creating a 2-5 now, A minor 7 half diminished to a D7 going to a G minor 7 half diminished. So I'm creating these 2-5 ones. Now I can dress it up with a sharp 9 and a flat 13. So I'll do the same thing for the C7. There's that sharp 11 in there now. Now here I'm going to change it because it's too predictable. If I do the same chord, it's too predictable. Like too predictable. So I'm going to go A13. Now I'm going to do a dominant chord, not a minor chord, but a dominant 7th with a 13 in it. And then now I can go here to a D7. These are great, really dense and thick and interesting jazz chords. To a 2 there now and a 5. Now just descending. I'm going to do a diminished chord there because it sounds nice. Descending. See, so these bass line moving really work nicely in this tune. There it is again. So da 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 da. So you can see the bass line. If you understand bass line, then you can understand everything about jazz voicings, because you just have to put the right chord above the bass line. But if you get the bass line right, then you're really going to be swinging. Okay, so we'll move on now. That's all for tonight, and thanks for joining me. And I want to say until next time, have a merry little Christmas and a really groovy Happy New Year. And until next time, I'll say swing loose, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.